Joseph Adams that was from Bowling Green. Well, he's from Philadelphia, but he married a girl in Bowling Green, and his father-in-law had a funeral home, and he was real smart. So they posted a president's list and a dean's list, and it was in alphabetical order. Yeah, the president's list for that period was A, average. The dean's list was a B average. So when they posted the list, Joe Adams had made an A average, so he was the first number on the president's list. And I had made a B average, so I was the first name, Ames, on the dean's list. And the guys came up, you could hear them say, they wished that we certainly wish that so-and-so Ames would get smart enough to get on the president's list, or that Joe Adams would get dumb enough to get on there, so we don't have to list that and look at both lists with the first name, and they said that word.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing, and they didn't put the list up anymore. They posted it the first 6 weeks, didn't post it no more. That was about the only thing I had.
So what made you want to pursue mortuary science?
Well, I had no clue it was funeral director, and I just was around it.
And you used your GI Bill for this?
Yeah, I used my GI Bill. Yeah, they don't owe me nothing. I didn't have money. I wouldn't have been able to go to environment school. I could have gone to regular college. It was less. Because I was at Virginia State, you could have almost worked your way through there, but my parents were sending me. But at that time, you could almost have worked your way through Virginia State, because I worked in the dining hall. That was the place to make the most money.
So now you get out of the Army, and you have your license as a mortician.
Yeah.
So what do you do after that?
Well, when I came out, I still worked at the funeral home at home for a while. Then I came up here, and I did a little bit of everything.
So what year was it that you came up to Prince William County?
No, Arlington.
Okay.
1953. 1953, and during that period from then, and for a while, I worked at a giant food store for a period. I worked construction for a period, and I ended up in the post office. And then I was in the post office when I came here in 1959.
So what was it like working in those occupations during segregation?
Well, when I worked in the post office, I started out as a mail carrier in South Station. You still had segregation in the 50s. But the guys got along pretty good because you had your route. And the time that when I first went in the post office in Arlington, they didn't have a clerk. It was all carriers. And they had a few good carriers. And the guys got along pretty good. I never heard no trouble there. This was 53 or so. I never had any trouble there. And of course then when I got transferred and went as a clerk in D.C., didn't get no real trouble.
So what brought you out this way in 1959?
Well, I was looking for a place to go to a funeral home, and we rode down here one Sunday, and my wife said I liked this little town, so we were looking for somewhere. We had both prepared ourselves. I had done my part, and she had been in the beauty school and everything. So we just decided to try to come here, and so we did. We ended up getting here.
Did you have any problems getting licenses or anything because of segregation?
No, I didn't have that. In fact, there was one film director here then in the city, was Dennis Baker, and he helped me. And there was one other, Prince William County had two film directors, Hall in Occoquan, and he was sick and he died, and J. Dennis Baker here in Manassas. And of course Montcastle and all of them came after that. Montcastle came after that, did maybe 6-8 months. And Mr. Baker really helped me. There was no problem there. He had been burying blacks. He recommended a lot of them to me, not from the point of segregation, because they used his firm just like the whites, same thing, but from a point of trying to get me established. Because he said he knew he was older than I am going to live always.
In those 50s, did you ever bury any whites?
Oddly enough, I didn't start till 59 now.
Okay.
Oddly enough, the first person I buried was a white person. but he was a prisoner from Lawton. What happened, Lawton had a prisoner, a contract for unclaimed, if the family didn't claim the body. And Mr. Hall, who was in Occoquan, had it for everybody. And when I went down there, I was really looking for it to be segregated, but they hadn't had it, so they gave me, you know, I bid it on the contract. And then after 2-3 weeks after I buried that man, the person in charge, he was down there, said that if I would get rid of the contract and just bury the blacks, and he said colored then, that he would give me twice the money, and I knew something had happened, so, you know.
So what about that? We're pretty close to the city of Manassas, Old Town Manassas.
Okay.
So what was life like going into Old Town Manassas, restaurants and?
Well, when we came here now, remember, when we first